How's it going, everybody? We're going to be continuing the work. I'm going to see how much of the wings that we can get done in the little time that I have today. Something we also have coming up in the future is we're going to be going to another flying event. We'll be going to the SM, the Southeastern Models, down in South Carolina. So that is going to be October 21st, and we're going to see if we can get this done with that. Right now it's the 16th. So I think it's possible to try to get it done for that event, and once we get the wings done and rest of the wiring, it's basically there, as you saw from the last video. It's very, very close. So we're going to go ahead and just get to work. I'm going to try to just get the wings done because I hate wiring these wings. It takes forever to try to feed every single wire through and hook up everything. So I'm just going to bite the bullet, just going to do it, get it over with, and that way I don't have to think about it anymore. Alright guys, so if you want to see how I just ran the wires basically all in one shot, made sure all the lengths were good. I put them through the holes that I could reach properly. So we have the retraction, we have the brake wire that come through here, we have the flap and the aileron, and I fed some safety wire, basic aviation safety wire, through the wing. And I was able to get that because you could straighten out the safety wire really easy and feed it through much easier than a loose wire. Once I got the wire through, then I just fed in each one of the wires through a hole. Oh, did the air compressor scare you, bud? So just fed through each plug and then wrapped it around a little bit, and I was able to just kind of wiggle it and fish it all the way through all in one shot. That was a lot easier than the last time that I did it. So safety wire is great. You can use it for a lot of things. Recommend getting it. There's a couple things that I've done off camera just because we're trying to see if we actually can fly this jet at the event that we're going to be going to this weekend. So I basically only have today to try to touch up a lot of things, and we could probably do the fine-tuning stuff at the field, but I want to try to get the bulk of the work, the hard stuff done today. So the things that I have done off camera is I've done a bit of wiring. I'll show you. The only things that I have done off camera was I made some wire extensions that are good lengths to connect the wings, the wing wires, and so that includes your ailerons, your flaps, and also our gear and brake. So all those go through there, and then we have our gear controller, which is hidden up here. So I have the gear and the brakes go through this controller. This controller was included with the Boomerang, so it is a Boomerang brand gear controller, also brake controller. Then out of those, I have these two wires. One is going to be brake and one is going to be gear. Then for other wiring that I have done is I have the flap ailerons for both wings wired up here. I already have a lot of programming done in the Aura since this was already in a previous airplane that you saw that we crashed. So I'm actually going to plug up the Aura, and I'm going to figure out which channel was which, because Dad didn't do a great job when he took it apart, labeling exactly which channel went to what. So I'm just going to plug it up. I'll be able to look it up in the Aura and see what it is, and then I'll find it out. That way I have to do very little amount of setup for that. So that's the only thing I've done so far off camera. Did a little bit more with getting these plugs back here. So I extended the wires for the ECU plug, or GSU, whatever the proper name for it is, the engine control system. And then we still need to put these two plugs right here. For receiver setup, we're still going with the same of the 900 megahertz receiver. I think I'm gonna have it back here just because it's gonna look a little cleaner, a little bit more out of the way. And then we're gonna have the Rex 10 up here. So the only thing that's going to be going into the Rex 10, I believe, is going to be brake, gear control, We also have the telemetry. We're going to make a telemetry port for that because we're out of telemetry ports for this, because now we actually have the GPS module as well as the pitot tube that we installed for that. So that pitot tube module is actually down there. You can see it. It's kind of hidden, but it's pitot tube that from Jetty that they offer. We'll have the other wire that connects the 900 megahertz backup receiver to the main receiver. That's it. And then we also have the engine control system here that is plugged into this telemetry system. And then that will get plugged into the receiver as well. So we have engine telemetry. Other than that, wiring is basically done. The only thing I really have to then figure out now is which ports I'm going to be plugging into which ports I'm going to be plugging into this, and setting that back up. But what we're going to tackle now is going to be the wings. So I'm going to be installing these phallics that they include with the wings. So these get glued into the wings themselves, and then they get drilled through the fuselage through those little pads right there. So those pads, the phallics will actually go through once they're glued into the wings, and will be something like that. Once I glue those into the wings, I'm actually going to drill through the whole thing itself. That way they're all lined up. You probably heard Dad say that we actually had to glue the wings in place. The only reason we had to do that last time is because these phallics were actually from the previous wings and they were already drilled. So we don't have to do that here because I actually can glue them into the wings first, slide them into there, and then drill the whole assembly as one so that they're all lined up. I don't have to worry about them being perfectly lined up when I glue them, because once I drill them. The only thing I have to make sure of is when I put them in, I'm going to mark it with a pencil on where I want it to sit on this pad. Looks like I'm also going to have to epoxy some wood in there. So this is about level, and you can see there's a bit of a gap there right now. So I'm going to probably epoxy some wood and to make it to where this slit is the same level as that pad, so we're not putting any stress on it. Same with this side. I'm going to just put some piece of balsa in there so that we can have a good support area for them. And then these are just going to have little blind nuts glued onto them. That will fix the wings. So I think the first thing I want to tackle is I'm going to cut out the squares to put onto there. I'm going to have these ready. I'm going to sand down the side that's going to be glued because you don't want to glue straight to this shiny stuff because it's not going to stick very well. So we're going to cut the squares, sand these down, glue them into the wings, glue it all at once. And then once that sets up, slide the wings in, drill it all the way through, and glue the blind nuts onto these. Then the wings will be done. Once I do that, then I can actually start playing with where the plugs are and start doing some programming once that's figured out. Yeah, let's get to work. I think that will work. Let's see. Nice and snug. So I definitely see that I'm gonna have to carve some of the top of this point because it's really tight, because we're going to have a blind nut on the top here, and that's going to have to slide through. So I will probably just take the Dremel and open up the top opening of this a little bit. I think I'm going to shave down a hair on these. Yeah, that's pretty flat. All right, so we're going to double check the fit mat. Debris up in there, some previous epoxy from the building process. How's that? That's good. Cool. All right, so now I need to mark how deep these are gonna go. I think about that will be good. How far do I want to go in? I don't want to go in too far, but I want to make sure I have enough. There's not even a hole on the bottom. Interesting, okay. There's not even a pre-drilled hole on the bottom of here. Actually, is that going to be an issue for me? Are they marked at all? They are not. I don't think it will be an issue. Play the game of how much is too much. Alright, so that's good for that side. Alright, so I got the left wing, right wing. This is going to, I want the phallic on this side. So that's going to be glued in about like, yeah, right? Nope. Oh, backwards. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's how I wanted it. Okay. No. Whew, almost made a mistake. Okay, no, I wanted it like that. I wanted the rounded end on the part that's going to go into the wing each time we build the thing. Now, is this too goddamn loose? Do I need a wedge? I'm going to be making a mess. Let's go ahead and tape it then. This is the first kind of stuff that we really started using this kind of adhesive. It's cool that it mixes it. It cures really quick. It's also really expensive, but it does work very well. And it's super convenient to use, just having it right out of the gun. Do only get to use the tips once. So through a build, you kind of go through them. So usually it's beneficial to like have a good plan of attack. Have everything set up, do multiple at a time. Like now I'm going straight to the wings. Over to the wings so I can use one tip. Verify I want, yeah, okay. The gun also makes it really easy when you're trying to glue into holes, which sometimes you're doing a lot. Squeeze it right into the orifice that you want. And I'm just going overboard as hell. I'm gonna sand off what I don't use. And now we wait. This stuff actually cures really quick. So I'm just gonna make sure that they're relatively straight. And I can usually hold it in place. Actually see if I can do a little bit of cleanup while we... Hopefully I'm right in my theory that I can just glue them like this and it just works. And hopefully I'm not wrong. If this works, this will be a lot easier. And one of these are gear. Sweet. Now I need the other wing. Points where I wish I had Dad. I got Cher. You stay. Hot damn. That's a full airplane. So now we need to do the nerve-wracking work of drilling through the whole thing and not missing. So as you can see, those are glued in. We have that plate that I epoxied in there. So now what we need to do is drill through the whole fuselage all the way up. There's no pre-marked holes on this, so what I think I'm going to do is pull the wing slightly out, mark where the phallic is, and just go a little bit in. I'm going to probably try to measure how far in I want to go, because I'd love to end up right at the center of that phallic without... I wish I could drill straight from the bottom down. That would be nice, but that's not possible. Yep, let's give this a shot. This is going to be nerve-wracking for me. I'm also going to use the smallest drill bit I got in the attempts to, if I make a up, I can try to remedy the up slightly. All right, everybody, wish me luck. Tight and snug as I can get it. And give her the good old college try. How did I do? Not great. But is it good enough? How am I that far off center? That one I think I can remedy a little bit since I did a smaller drill bit. I'm gonna try to, with the actual drill bit size, try to walk it in just a hair. I know you guys are probably watching this and be like, what the hell is he doing? But honestly, I pondered it for a minute. I couldn't find a better way to try to measure exactly where I wanted it. I think that's doable. I think that is very acceptable. It's not perfect. Not 100% happy with it. It's not very, very center, but I think it's acceptable. All right, so next step is going to be getting these little guys into here. Do have to drill these out a little bit. Are these holes big enough? They're big enough for that. And that's what I care about. But I'll drill the phallics out just slightly to fit these in. Then we're going to hammer these guys flat and then epoxy them in, because these little prongs are not going to go into this. It's going to crack it, and it's going to make this not as strong as before. So we're just going to bend those down, epoxy those in place. So we need to drill this out just a hair. Now, if you're watching this and you feel like that I have done something completely wrong, please leave a comment. I do want to read them. I do want to learn. This is the first jet that I've built, so I am bound to make some stupid, inexperienced mistakes. and I want to learn. I want to hear your knowledge, so please leave a comment. Let me know what I can do to not suck next time. Be greatly appreciated. Now I gotta get it back out. I don't want to get into threads, so I'm just going to work this stuff all around. We are getting somewhere. I got full contact on it, so even though it's not slightly centered, it's off a little bit, it's still making full contact, not half of it's on. It's not holding anything down, so I'm satisfied with that. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, I think, in my opinion. Everybody, so I went and got into a slight rhythm. So the only thing that I've done off camera was the top opening where the phallic enters is I shaved that off with using my little Dremel and a little drill bit tool. So shaved off the top so that that blind nut can slide through there. And guess what? It all lines up. We got a bolt there. Obviously I'm gonna have a washer on it. That's just for the fitting, just to make sure that it actually lined up. But both line up, both are very secure. There's no play in it. And the wing plugs are working well. And I got the gap pretty good. This side is slight on the back end of it. It has a slight gap, but the front's really tight. So I'm not sure I could have gotten any tighter. I'm very proud of that. I'm also just proud that that worked. So I didn't overly screw it up, which for some reason I have a tendency to screw up. So I always anticipate I'm going to mess up. The hard part of the jet is done. All the hard stuff is done now. So the only thing left that I need to do is I still need to take the servos back out of the tail and Loctite all of the screws that go into the servos. When I installed the wings, when I built the wings, I went ahead and did that. When Dad built the tail and installed the servos, he didn't Loctite it, he just did quickly. So I needed to do that. Basically just plug things in, and then this thing is ready to go. I still need to paint the canopy or figure out what Dad wants to do with the canopy, if he wants to just paint it black or if he wants to leave it clear and put his 3D printed coolness in it, if he wants to do that. So I'll leave that up to him to decide on what he wants to do with the canopy wise. But gear works, and I'm gonna plug into the Aura and look at the software and figure out which channel it needs to go to which. Yeah, we're damn close. All right, everybody, it all works. We got our ailerons. We have our flaps working. Our gear brakes, so that now works. We have our gear, elevators, rudder, ailerons work, nose wheel steering works, and my dad's little tiller thing to trim it works. So how have we have everything plugged in is we have the 900 megahertz to there, which we can set up what we want for X bus or anything on this alternate pin config. So we have the X bus input as a backup on E2, so that's on E2. We have X bus, which is to the Aura, and that's going to be on E1. So that's E1. Jetty box sensor, we have, that is our little control module right here for our telemetry. That is going into extension. So we have, that's what we have plugged into here. So we have our gear plugged into it, brakes plugged into it, our 900 megahertz, our X bus, and telemetry. This one we have our plug for to go into the main receiver. We have a plug for GPS, one for pitot, and another telemetry, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly what all is plugged into that one. And then everything that goes into the Aura is anything that's going to be gyroed. So all of the ailerons, elevators, rudder, and also the nose wheel steering is also under a gyro. That is all those servos get plugged into the Aura. Everything else gets plugged into receivers. Other than that, now I just need to clean up this little bit of a mess right here, make it all look pretty. All right, guys, so the Ranger is basically 98% there. We just have a few little piddly things I need to do. Wiring is basically all complete. Dad still needs to figure out his little plug system back here on how he wants to have it. We need to do the canopy, but all the servos work. Set up everything, gear, brakes, flaps, all the control surfaces, everything works. Still need to figure out the telemetry thing. The telemetry is still a little bit off, but Dad knows the telemetry a little bit better, so he's going to work on that. But I am packing up the trailer to go off to this event down in South Carolina tomorrow. So we're going to pack this thing up. It's close enough to where I feel happy of putting it in the trailer and getting it basically the rest of the way there. There's not really any more parts that need to go onto the airplane, so it's basically ready to go. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and also leave a comment and let me know if some things that I could do better. I know there's a lot of things I could do better, but I don't know what they are. So please let me know. I'd love to hear about your jet and things that you think that I can learn and improve on. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. See you on the next one. Bye.